Yeah, it's so crazy when I tell people, I'm like, this could take you, if you do these weekly things, it'll take you like 5, maybe 10 minutes at tops.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to if
Mm-hmm.
you wait till the end of the year, it's going to be hours, if not days, depending on how much time you can put towards it. So just being able to do it right when it's at top of mind and you know exactly what you made that expense for or where you drove when you're tracking your mileage, just getting that done right away makes it so much easier than trying to sift back through all of your numbers and bank statements and who knows what to figure it out.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. I am your host, John Mansfield. Today is episode 213, and I have another returning guest for you. I hope you're enjoying these as much as I am. It's great to have familiar faces coming back. We already have some rapport. We already know each other. You already know them. You've heard them in past episodes. And Heather was on back in, I think we just determined it was November, if I remember correctly. But yeah, like 6-ish months ago now, and she was on the show with her business partner and bestie. I was gonna say Jeremy Fisher. That's not right. That is a character from an old Salad Fingers cartoon. Don't go look up Salad Fingers if you are easily disturbed by like 90s, early 2000s cartoons. It's really weird. I loved it. Not Jeremy Fisher, but Jamie Fisher. No relation, probably, to a cartoon. Anyway, Heather was on the show with I was going to say Jeremy again. I can't keep doing this. I'm probably going to cut all of this. I'm so sorry. Heather was on the show last with Jamie Fisher. Oh, wow. All right. I got through it. Jamie and Heather were on before in episode 189, talking about how not knowing your numbers is costing you in your business. If you have not listened to that episode, go mark it to play next in your queue. I don't know if you can do that or not, but do it after you listen to this episode with Heather. Heather, I'm sorry, this was a chaotic intro. Let's just get into my conversation with Heather Leicy. But yeah, Heather, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited. I'm going to try and bring as much energy as Jamie and I, if I can.
Yeah, you're just going to have to double up the energy today.
Extra energy. I don't even drink coffee, so I can't even say I had enough caffeine. It's just energy.
I do drink coffee and I never seem to have enough caffeine. I'm always like, I don't know what it is. But I'm always just kind of like dragging, but I still have the energy. Or maybe I'm just using more energy than my body produces. I don't know. Who knows how bodies work? Scientists. They do.
I don't even know.
I'm not one of those people.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm excited to talk about numbers and preparing for tax day and all of that. This is I was going to say super huge topic. Super huge and super important. And it's one of those things that like are very scary for a lot of people. Just like, I don't know taxes, I don't know my numbers, I'm just going to avoid it until the week before tax day and then try and do something or file for an extension. Which I've talked to a lot of people that are like, I'm not even doing anything until October because I'm already planning to file for an extension.
Maybe don't do that.
Maybe don't do that. This podcast will help you to not have to do that for 2025 once we get around to tax season again. But yeah, before we get into a little bit about who you are, I had a question for you. And I have been asking just like random listener questions. But because I edit these, I also listen back. So I'm a listener and I have a question for you.
Okay, love it.
If Ben & Jerry's was to create an ice cream flavor off of you and your life, what would be in it?
Oh, shoot. That's a good question. Okay. I think it would be vanilla based ice cream because I am kind of like,
I think it would just be vanilla.
I'm very plain. There's nothing to be. No, I think it would be the base would be vanilla flavored ice cream. But then I think it would have sprinkles for sure because like you mentioned, I love some energy. And once I
Yes.
get going, I'm a little fun. I hope people say
Yeah.
that about me. And then I think I would add a little bit of chocolate. And I'm thinking it's Reese's peanut butter, like the little mini ones. And that is
Okay.
because like I try and be I'm a Enneagram 2. So I'm like a people pleaser. I want to make
Yeah.
all people happy. So I feel like sweetness would be me because I'm like super sweet because I want everyone else to be happy, which sometimes could be bad for me, but that's beside the fact. And then the peanut butter just softens it. So it's not like too sweet that you get sick of it, but it's like just enough sweetness that you want to have some more.
That little bit of salty savoriness
Oh
in the
yeah,
ice cream
yeah.
too.
Yep.
I do love that. I do love like peanut butter or like a good, I don't know, caramel's pretty sweet
Yep.
itself. But yeah, it's I don't know. Any time that there's I think we talked about this last time, the Milk Bar ice cream.
Yep.
Those are always like super sweet.
Yes.
And I can have like a couple of spoonfuls and then I'm done.
That's how I am with cake batter flavor. Like I love it, but I can do like 2 bites and then it's too much for me.
Yeah. And sometimes I need that flavor because otherwise, if it's just like vanilla with like some chocolate syrup or something on it, I'm just like, I was going to eat this whole half pint. And then I will regret that because I am lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
But I love ice cream, as all lactose intolerant people do.
Yep.
We're always like, I love ice cream. I love cheese, but it hates me.
Oh, if I ever become lactose intolerant, I think I'd cry. And I don't think I'd follow the rules because I am an ice cream connoisseur. So
yeah. It didn't happen to me till college. It was like one of those late onset deals of like my body was just like, you know what? I think we're done with this. You had your childhood eating all the ice cream you wanted. Now you're gonna have to ration this out.
Horrible.
Yeah. So okay. Speaking of ice cream, Heather, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Well, I'm Heather, and I always say I'm an ice cream lover. So that was a perfect question. I am like brand everything ice cream. I love it. I could eat it breakfast, lunch, dinner, not lying, and snacks in between. But on the other side of that, I am a wedding and senior photographer based in Pennsylvania. And through my years of being a photographer, I've really come to love the numbers of being a small business owner, which I know for a lot of creatives, they hate that side, but I've come to love it. So through it, I really found a love for I know people are probably like, what is wrong with her? But I found a love for taxes and just like learning the nitty gritty and all of the rules behind it. And so I have really loved helping other photographers who don't enjoy it. Just be able to do it in an easy process and make it a little less stressful for them when April comes around, or hopefully March, February is when people do it, but worst comes to worst, April. But other than that, other than my business, I have 2 fur babies and 1 little girl that just turned 1. And so I just love spending time with them and working on house projects with my husband and just being outside. We're super outdoorsy fun
Awesome.
people.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's so much fun. What's one of the recent house projects that y'all have done? Or what is one that you have on the, I'm sure, long list of house projects as we have here that you're excited about?
All right. Okay. So one that we just did, which people are probably going to laugh, but we kind of baby proofed the house because now she's crawling and walking. So that's like very minor, but like we put up new gates for her that aren't just like the ones you buy and like it's kind of janky.
The ones that like if she like actually pulls on it, it's just gonna fall over.
Yep. So we kind of like made them, and so that was a big one. And then one that we have that we're saving up for right now is we want to do an addition off the side of our house so that we can make our bathroom / laundry room downstairs a little bit bigger and add a mud room and then add a new bedroom on the 2nd floor above it. So that's like our big one that we're saving up for.
Yeah.
hopefully.
That is a big project.
Yes.
A lot bigger than Gates, but also super.
That's why I was like, I think I need to give like a tiny little one and a massive one.
Yeah, we're not always doing these giant add-ons and everything.
I wish we could, but no.
Yeah. Yeah, that takes a lot. That's awesome. Yeah, we are in the process of refinishing our kitchen table. So we had planned to do that over a recent weekend when my parents had the kids, and we were like, we're going to sand it down, we're going to strip it, get it ready. And then we forgot to buy the sealant to do everything. We were like, all right, well, it is like 10 p.m. We're going to call this. So we're planning on later this week. Actually, we have it, and we're gonna wipe it down, get it ready, and seal it so we can move our actual kitchen table back into the house instead of just like center of the garage.
What are you eating on right now? While
we have like those like foldable.
Oh, okay.
Like
on the floor.
Banquet table. Yeah, we're just picnicking in front of the TV.
Which would not be a horrible thing.
It would not. The kids would love it.
Yeah. I feel like that would be a fun week of not eating at a table.
Yeah, we should probably do that for like a pizza night or something. That'd be fun.
Tonight. That's what your job is.
Cool. There we go. Done. Dinner's taken
ready.
care of.
Wow, that is so nice to hear that.
Thank you, Heather. I wasn't expecting that from this conversation, but I'm glad that dinner's taken care of.
I've got all the ideas. Come at me.
Okay, let's get into something I was expecting from this conversation, which really I knew that we were going to go on all sorts of tangents, which I love. Hey y'all, quick break to share with you about something new that I put together on the new website, podcast.allheartphoto.com, which has all the show notes from today's episode as well as many others. But you know, I am here to help you build your business and create the lifestyle you always dreamed of. And with that comes some resources that I have found very helpful for me building my business, and also some resources that I put together, some guides and email templates and things like that I think would be really helpful for you. So if you want to go check that out, head over to podcast.com. Just that, podcast.com. That's the whole thing. Head over to podcast.allheartphoto.com/resources. You can also go check out podcast.com if you want to. I've never been there. Let's give it a shot. Check them out too. Free ad for you, podcast.com. Now back to the show. I really want to get into these numbers because I know so many people, like you said, don't have that love for numbers. They don't have the love for taxes, and it is super daunting and just like something that they dread every single year. What are like, I mean, you talked about how you now have this love for it. And you know, we were kind of talking about how you can like set up and organize your business numbers throughout the year to be ready for tax time. So what does that look like? How can you take those steps?
Yep, I love it. So I have systems that's like a weekly rhythm you can do, and then also a monthly and quarterly rhythm. So I'm going to kind of go through the two different things because they really build on each other. But before I do that, I always love to say on talks like this, like make sure you have an accountant that you're working with, because every state is different and every accountant kind of goes through numbers and organizes the numbers to file them differently. So just make sure you're working with them to also set your system up the best way that's helpful for them too. But this is just one that I have found really works well for a lot of people and a good place to start, and then go and talk with your accountant afterwards to make sure that that's how they would like it too, and saves you so that they're not spending more time working on your stuff. So weekly, this is, you can just pick a day of the week that works best for you, but try and do it every day that week, or at least every other week. And so for me, it's Monday. I don't love like jumping into a hardcore project. So this is my like start off, let's get into the rhythm of work. And so there's 4 things that I always do that has to do with your taxes, but then also just your numbers in general. And so it's kind of a win-win. And so the first one is just tracking and then delegating your income. And what I mean by that is just recording who you got paid from, when you got paid. A lot of times if you have a CRM, it's already going to do it for you. But if not, just make sure you're doing it in like a little spreadsheet. But then delegating is the really important thing. And that's where you separate your numbers into 3 different buckets is what I recommend, just so that you're preparing yourself for any bills and taxes that come up, that you're not scrambling to find the money. So one of them is for taxes. And I always recommend doing like 25 to 30% of any income that comes in and set that aside for those taxes. That's your yearly taxes, your sales tax, just any kind of tax numbers you have to pay for. The second bucket is 30% for business expenses. So giving back to your business so that you can purchase education or purchase new equipment, any of those types of things. And then the last bucket is 8 to 13% is what I recommend for retirement. So first 2 buckets set you up for now so that you're financially good and ready to go for taxes and expenses. And then the last bucket sets you up for the future so that you don't have to be worrying about how you're going to pay for things as you get older.
Right. Oh, yeah. That was something that I did not have set up when I first started. And then after probably like 5 years or so, when I hit like 30, I was like, oh, I have nothing set up for retirement because I'm not going to photograph weddings when I'm 70.
Yep.
Um,
If you
and
can, good for you.
if I can, yeah, sure. I mean, we got people like John Dolan. I don't think he's 70, but he's up there. He's got the white hair, the very sexy KFC hair, and he's still doing it. So there is hope that I can continue on for a while. But also, like, I know my body. Like, side note, we don't have to get into. I broke my back in 2014, and that was really rough. So I have those that I'm dealing with as getting older and all that. But yeah, like I know that my body's not going to hold out for like too much longer, and I also don't want to be working like as much as I currently am in probably even the next 10-15 years. I want to slow down a little bit. So yeah, having that set aside for retirement, because like in a traditional 9 to 5, you've got that 401k or something most employers will set up for you. Yep. So it's like you don't even have to look at it. It doesn't come out of it comes out of your paycheck before it even hits your account. Yep. You don't even have to think about it. Yep. So I love having that bucket also to where you can pour into that for the future. Yeah. So for people who are like maybe just making it by, or more of like the, I heard a lot of how 2023 was just like super rough, and people just like clawing on to just make enough to pay for food and all that. Yep. If they haven't been putting aside, I mean, maybe they've been doing taxes because they know like we need to do that. Yeah, hopefully. And they have like that 30% going, but nothing like pretty much spending everything else. Is there a good like maybe transition step into like baby steps growing, or should they just like, let's go ahead and start doing that 30% to the business and 8 to 13 for retirement?
No, I think you can step it, and it's kind of up to you and how your finances are. I really recommend that taxes one to be a for sure at least 25%, because unfortunately you can't kind of like talk with the government and say, hey, I'm struggling, can I
Right.
pay a little less?
Yeah.
But the other two buckets, you do have a leeway, and it's just so that you know, like 30%, if you're doing less than that, then that just means that that year you don't get to spend as much on your business. So you just have to keep the equipment that you have and be okay with that. Or you can't purchase a new lens or do a mastermind, and that is okay. But the 30% is just a nice number to try and set as your goal. And then the same thing for retirement. 13% is what they recommend, and like that golden number to get to really set yourself up good. But if you start at a lower number and then like each year just increase it by a little bit until you get to 13, that is totally fine. I think for me, I did 5%, and then I went up to 8%, and then I did 10, and then 13. So that was not a 0 to 13% in one
Yeah.
quick jump.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. Those little baby steps too, because like when it comes to investing in your future and retirement and all that, like the compound interest is what really helps you out. So yeah, the sooner that you can start, even if it is just like, all right, I can do 5%. I can
Yep.
figure out that I can not buy that new lens that I've been dreaming of for a year. I can put that off for maybe another 6 months or a year,
Yep.
you know.
Yes.
And yeah, and like starting that compound interest even with the 5%, and then you can continue to grow that as you go on. I
Yeah.
think that's really good, and something that like kept me from investing kind of investing
Yep.
in a retirement plan, because I was like, well, I can't do 5%, and I started off with 2%, and I was like, I can do 2. I know that I can do 2, and I did that, and then quickly I was like, oh, actually I can do 5. uh like it was just scary to see that number, but like once I was already doing 2, I was like, oh yeah, 5's cool, I can
Yep.
do that. And yeah, like once you really start it, then it's a lot easier uh to move forward in doing all that. So
Yeah.
okay, so we got our buckets.
Okay.
uh, what are we doing, um like weekly, monthly wise, like organizing everything either
Yep.
in those buckets or where, what are we doing?
Yep. So the next thing for weekly is independent contractors and just marking
Mm,
down their expenses. So this one and the next one kind of tie into each other, and it's really like your expenses bucket. And so you just want to keep track of any independent contractors you have in your business. A lot of times for photographers, it's second shooters or virtual
mhm.
assistants. And you want to mark down how much you're paying them throughout the year, because if you pay them more than 600, you then have to submit another form at the end of the year for taxes, which is a 1099. And so they'll need to fill out a W-9 for you so that you can send them a 1099 so that they can correctly file that income in their own taxes. So just making a spreadsheet doesn't need to be pretty, but just tracking down like who you paid, how much, and then once they hit 600, flipping it to a yes so that you know that they need a form at the end of the year. And then
Mhm.
in addition to that, the other expenses that you can keep track of are just categorizing all of your expenses that you pay for your business, and setting yourself up with a separate bank account is a really easy way to do this, because then you can easily see what expenses were made for the business and then separate them into the different categories, which you can easily find online. There's like 20 or so that are
Oh
the
yeah.
common ones that you have, but doing it weekly gives you, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes that you have to organize those expenses, instead of waiting till the end of the year and then trying to figure out what went with what and when did you pay
Mhm.
this and was it an actual expense or not.
Right. Yeah. And all the Amazon purchases of
Oh
like,
yeah.
this just shows up as Amazon. Was this, did I buy a new lens? Was this, what was it? What was I doing over here?
Yep.
And yeah, I highly recommend, if you do not have separate like personal and
Oh,
business accounts, please do that.
yep.
Not only for legal reasons, but also like just the organization
Mm-hmm.
of like my personal account. There's money going out all the time because we're buying food, and we're going here and
Mm-hmm.
getting gas for here and like
Yep.
paying for the kids stuff. And then my business one, some weeks it's like I paid for 3 things,
Yep.
and that was it. And it is a super easy like bookkeeping week. In other weeks, I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing, a lot of contractors that I'm paying. And if you do have a CRM that allows you to keep track of finances too, that is really great to assign that to different. I know I use Tave for my photography business, and I can assign that to certain second shooters. So then at the end of the year, I can just run a report on contractor payments to so and so, and it'll just list everything there for me with the grand total at the top. And I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. That is what my 1099 is going to be. So I don't have to like go through and check everything. But like, yeah, every week as we're going through, I have to be diligent of saying like, okay, yeah, I paid, however many hundreds of dollars to this second shooter.
Yep.
I have to actually mark this down so that come January, I'm not going back to last April and being like, okay, how much did I pay them?
Yeah.
And where did they show up? Did I have to get a different second shooter? And yeah, I mean, it is, doing stuff every week just is so much easier. And it's a lot less to take over. Because I think that's what scares a lot of people about taxes is just like it's the big year end thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like January hits and you're like, oh no, I've got 3 months to get this all together. And then April gets here and you're like, oh no, I have 2 weeks to get this all together. Because I've done nothing because I've been scared of like getting into the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
And then it's a bunch of late nights and then filing for an extension.
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
Not speaking from experience at all. Never. But yeah, like doing that weekly or even monthly, if you're not, I know some of the listeners are kind of more on that first few years, maybe doing this more of like a side job to their 9 to 5, and you're not going to have a bunch of bookkeeping every single week. So kind of finding your rhythm of, like you said, you could do it every other week or, once a month. And, you might have 10 line items from that month because it's not like your full-time thing where you've got a lot of stuff going on. Or maybe you have a team and you've got so much that you need to do definitely weekly, if not bi-weekly check-ins. But yeah, no, I think that is it's so important. And I don't know, like I remember being afraid of like all of these, and I'm even a numbers guy. I love numbers and I love spreadsheets and all that. But yeah, getting behind on bookkeeping just felt like, well, I don't have time for this because I also have to edit these photos that someone has already paid me for. So I'm just going to put this off. And then once I do get caught up with editing, I'm like, well, now I need a break because I'm tired. and yeah, like doing that, even if you're trying to like catch up, where you have months that you have missed, like instead of doing 1 week of bookkeeping, do like 2 or 3 in 1 week span, and then wait until the next week. You don't have to do all of your back bookkeeping in one sitting.
Yes.
Which is what I thought. I was like, I have to do this all at the same time or I will never do it. And that's not true.
You never did it.
Yeah. And then I never did it.
Yeah, it's so crazy when I tell people, I'm like, this could take you, if you do these weekly things, it'll take you like 5, maybe 10 minutes at top, compared to if you wait till the end of the year, it's going to be hours, if not days, depending on how much time you can put towards it. So just being able to do it right when it's at top of mind and you know exactly what you made that expense for or where you drove when you're tracking your mileage, just getting that done right away makes it so much easier than trying to sift back through all of your numbers and bank statements and who knows what to figure it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's top of mind because you're like, oh yeah, I know why I was driving to this place. That was for work and not, I don't know. Why did I drive to Houston? That was probably work. I'll mark that down for work. Which
isn't the best thing to do.
Which is not good to do. But yeah. Yeah. So So for this next year, I know, anyone watching live right now, I see, Ashley's in here leaving a couple comments of just like, this is an important topic, which is very true. And for anyone watching live right now, we're right before tax time. So if you haven't done your taxes yet, you have
6 days.
6 days.
6 days.
So get on that. But
no pressure, but
no pressure, but you should do that. And anyone listening to this, on Spotify, Apple, all of that, it is past tax time. So like preparing for this next year, what are some steps, or maybe even like, I know you've talked about like a spreadsheet. What I know some people are not spreadsheet people, which like for you and me, it's like, yeah, make a spreadsheet. And we already know like, oh yeah, I'll put this column here. And this is, and I did this for column. That's a row.
It's okay. I got you.
Yeah,
I
that's
nodded
cool.
my head too. I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We promised we built spreadsheets.
We know spreadsheets. It's okay. But like, we already picture like, okay, yeah, if I need to do a spreadsheet, I know how to set this up. Yep. How would, for someone who's just like, I don't know, Excel, what things do they need to put to where they can like kind of organize a spreadsheet and not just throw a bunch of numbers on there and then just be completely lost come next January whenever they're trying to read all of those numbers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the biggest things, and these can just be like 2 tabs at the bottom, would be one spreadsheet for your independent contractors, which I mentioned, literally just person's name. Next column is how much you pay them. And then anytime you pay them throughout that year, just add to that. And then the last column, I just do no. And then I switch it to a yes when they make over $600. That can be one sheet on your spreadsheet. Done. Independent contractors are covered. And then you just reference it at the end of the year for who needs a 1099. Then the other one I would recommend would be for those expenses. And that can just be very simple, going onto the internet. I do have one in my shop that you could use as a template so that you don't have to create it. But if you wanted to create it, go on Google and type in the most common tax categories for write-offs. Write those in one of the columns on the spreadsheet. And then beside it, you can just add up those tallies as it goes throughout the year. Now, it would be good if you could be a little bit more robust and be able to write down what each one was. But that is like next steps. First step is just making the columns to get your totals so that you can send those totals to your accountant at the end of the year. That would be these. And then the last thing is mileage. And that doesn't even have to be a spreadsheet. If you just download MileIQ, or if you have QuickBooks, QuickBooks already has it in it, but MileIQ is an app and it will track your miles in the background of your phone. And all you have to do is swipe right or left to say if it was personal or business. And then it will create a spreadsheet for you at the end of the year, letting you know how many miles you did total for each of those, and you just send that off to your accountant. So that one you don't even have to make, you just download the app.
Yeah. I love that because like I was really good at keeping track of my mileage for business. But then whenever I was doing my taxes and it's like, what did your odometer start off with at the beginning of the year? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how much I did for like my personal. I was keeping track of business. And yeah, MileIQ is just like easy. Swipe left, swipe right. You just have to remember to do that, which might be a good thing to do. There you go. Yeah, every week.
That I didn't mention. I forgot to. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah. So just jump on there. If there's any that you haven't swiped on, you can swipe left, swipe right, and just keep that up to date too. Okay, I love that. Any last thoughts or tips or anything for the people?
I think the last thing would just be sales tax. And that is a monthly or quarterly rhythm that you can do depending on how much you make throughout the year. And that is one also that you can't skip, because if you do, the government will just take the money from you instead of you taking it from your client and then passing it off to the government. So just make sure that, and if you have a CRM, this is a super easy step, because you can run a report. Like in Honeybook, we can run a report for the month, and it will tell you exactly how much you need to pay per the amount that you made. And so you're just grabbing two numbers off that report, your taxable net amount, and then the tax that is due. And you just submit it through the website for your state, make the payment, and you're done. But that is the last one that is a really important rhythm to have on your calendar, so that you know to do either monthly or quarterly.
Yes. Yeah. And if you don't know, they will let you know, because for a while I was doing quarterly, and then I got a notification of like, hey, you're late on your payment. I was like, yes, I do, for another 2 months. They're like, oh no, you now make enough that you have to pay every single month.
Yep.
Like, oh, great.
Great, thanks.
Okay.
Just change that on my calendar.
Yep. So yeah, having that set up and like having those reminders and schedules to where it's not like, oh yeah, that's due on the 20th. I will schedule that for the 20th. It's like, once you're into the next month, go ahead and do that. I know, I don't know if it's everywhere, but here in Texas, you get like a little bonus for like early payments. I'm like, I will take that $3 or whatever it is. It's like, it's not much, but it is a lot better than the $50 or more penalty of waiting till afterwards.
Last year I think I made $113 off of my discounts, and I was like, heck yes, nice. I will take $113.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's less taxes that you have to pay. 100% down for that.
Free income.
Yes. That is my bonus for the end of the year.
Yay, I can get ice cream.
Ice cream. It's your ice cream salary.
Yes. Oh, that'd be so sad if a whole year.
I know, if it was only $113.
Let's not worry about that.
No. That's your ice cream bonus.
Okay.
There we go.
Extra ice cream. I like that.
All the toppings.
Approved.
Awesome. Okay. Well, Heather, this has been great. And yeah, we will have, you mentioned that template in your shop. So I'll get the link for that. So that's in the show notes for y'all. And then I'll also, cause it should be, it's the IRS. It's the same across the board. So I'll drop the links for like 1099s, W-9s, all of that for people who are just like, what is what? Who my second shooters need to fill out what thing? So we'll have that there. That way you can download those, send them to the people working for you, your contractors, and do it all legally instead of like, I'll just bring some cash for you. It's cool. Don't do that. No, we don't need to do that. We are professional businesses. We can professionally pay people.
Yes, please do. The IRS will like you, even though you might not love it. But Oh, also, when I mentioned about there being like 20 categories for taxes, your expenses, if you want to add in there, and I think I sent it. If not, I can send it over. I have a freebie also that people can grab that walks them through those different categories so that they know what expenses go under what. If there's any like unique things about it.
What qualifies as office supplies?
Yes, versus equipment.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Are my SD cards office supplies, or are they equipment, or are they accessories?
Yeah.
Or what do I need to do this?
Throw it in the air and it might land on one.
Yeah. Oh, travel. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. We will have that the link for the freebie in there as well. Okay. Before we wrap up and everyone can follow you, you can let them know where to see you. Let's do what we're loving this week. Can literally be anything. What are you loving this week, Heather?
Okay, podcast that I'm loving is Dolly DeLong's Systems and Magic Workflow, or Systems and Workflow Magic Bundle, or golly gee willikers, that's also for sale right now, which is incredible. But Systems and Workflow Magic Podcast.
Okay.
Goodness, I just like ran that all together. I love workflows, which is like kind of like spreadsheets, and she walks through the workflows for like everything in your business. And I just love learning new little tweaks and things that I can implement. Even being in this industry for several years, I still learn something from her. So I recommend that podcast. Dolly DeLong,
Awesome.
Systems and Workflow Magic Podcast.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I haven't heard of Dolly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will listen to that as I'm sending out some emails this afternoon.
She's great. I called her a wizard.
Nice.
She loves Harry Potter, so she would be so happy to hear that I just said that without even thinking.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you know what house she's in?
Oh,
does she talk about that?
She has very happily shared, and I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I'm sure it'll be in one of the episodes.
It's for sure in one of them. She talked with someone, like a guest speaker, about their two and like deciding on who was who and if it worked for them and stuff. All the things that I like watched them. That was like my COVID binge with my husband. Was watching them all, but I don't know them very well.
I am like, I know them by proxy. Like my wife with our first, who is now 9, she read all of or like audiobooked all of the which is still reading. I'm gonna count that as still reading. I know some people don't, but I count it as reading. But yeah, she listened to like the whole series of Harry Potter, just nursing and staying up with the baby and all of that, and then we watched all the movies together after that. So I have heard a lot of the books through just speakers of the audiobook, and then getting into like our houses and like our Patronuses and that kind of stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do the quiz too and see what I am. We're both Hufflepuffs, by the way.
I need to do the quiz now. I don't know what I am.
You should. Yeah. I think it's Pottermore.com.
Pottermore.com.
Pottermore. Yeah.
I'm going to let you know what I win. Win? Goes in for? I don't know. You're
going to win. I could see maybe a Hufflepuff, maybe some Ravenclaw.
Ooh. Oh, I don't want to be Ravenclaw. Wasn't that like the bad one on?
No, that's Slytherin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't really know. Like, sure. You could be lying.
I also don't really know a lot of the characteristics of the things. I'm just like, yeah, this seems right.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I gotta know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What am I loving this week? I am loving the eclipse yesterday was really cool. I'm loving that.
With glasses?
Kind of, yes. I got glasses. I got like the 20 stop ND filter for my camera, so I could take photos. And it was fine. It was cool. It was very, very cool. We had a bunch of clouds, so we didn't really. You couldn't like sit out there and just watch the moon cover the sun. So every now and then the clouds would part, and you're like, "Oh, look, it's partially covered," and then the clouds would cover it back up, and then it'd come back, and you're like, "Oh, now it's just a sliver." But we also weren't like 100% totality, so we didn't have that ring where like all the videos of the people just like losing their minds and screaming. Which one day I would like to see that. We almost did in 2017 when it was coming across the East Coast. We went out to Georgia, but then didn't make it up to the part that we needed to in time to see it. So we just stopped and watched it, and it was like 97%. This year was 98. So we're getting closer. Who knows? I think it's like 2042 is the next one or something. Yay. So I'll plan for that.
2042.
Yeah. Mark it on the calendar. So I'm loving that. I'm also loving just conferences. Just got back from a conference a couple weeks ago and still like riding that high of community and just like seeing my industry friends in person and just like getting to hang out and the late nights we learned to two-step, which was fun.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, because it was here in Texas, and they had a local in Austin come out and teach everyone how to two-step. So that was a fun thing. And I've lived here most of my life, and I really didn't know how to two-step. So now I can do all the moves and like
Yeah,
all that.
allow
So
your podcast.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
Also, it was funny. She taught us how to two-step to Beyonce's Texas Hold'em, and I was like, all right, cool. So
Whoa.
now every time that's on, like in
Oh.
a store or on the radio, or just every time that I've been opening my Spotify, it will automatically start playing like the American Requiem, like beginning of the album. Like, all right, are we pushing Beyonce? Like, I'm okay with this, but okay. So now I'm just like, oh yeah, I can do the moves.
Oh my God, I love
listening to this.
Great. If you are only listening to this, please go watch this.
Yeah, go check out YouTube.
You gotta see it.
Where you can see us. I'm also loving that my computer did not die on us this time. You did not have to take over as host. So, but yeah, Heather, tell people where they can find you, follow along, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. So on Instagram, you can find me at heather.marie.leicy. And that's probably the best way to reach out to me. I am open to any questions. So drop in my DMs. I will get back to you if you have tax questions or just any sort of question, or want to just tell me your favorite ice cream flavor. Please let me know there. And then you can also go to my website at heathermlphoto.com. And there's a section and a page for photographers where that spreadsheet will be. So if you want to learn more the education side of things, you can find it there.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I'll have links to that. And yeah, whenever this comes out live, we'll have a poll for what everyone's favorite ice cream flavor is.
Yeah.
Which will be some good inspiration for me to be like branch out and get something different instead of just my same thing every single time.
Yep.
But yeah, awesome. Well, Heather, this has been great. I have loved getting to chat again. Also, for anyone who didn't get to hear last time you were on, it was episode 189, and you and Jamie were on again. It was a party, and also great job bringing the energy today. Like I felt the same, same level of energy. So that's good. I don't know what that says about Jamie, but
we love Jamie.
We love Jamie. Yes,
I worked extra hard.
She's just you did work extra hard. It was great, and I need to get Jamie on here, do a solo show. That'd be fun. I'll reach out to her.
She can only bring like 98% energy. She can't have more than me though.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
Then we're gonna do a poll and see who thought which one.
Vote for me. Vote for me.
Text Heather to 004.
I love it.
Oh,
Put Facebook on the stories and then poll it.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for leaving some comments, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. As always, you can check out all the show notes and free resources at podcast.allheartphoto.com. All of that is linked in the show notes as well, as where you can find Heather. I've got her Instagram, which is heather.marie.leicy. We also didn't really talk about this, but Heather and Jamie, who was mentioned in the podcast and in the chaotic intro that I had earlier, not to be confused with Jeremy Fisher, but Heather and Jamie are a duo who host the Conquer community. Conquer Live is their conference. But they host Conquer Live, which now, as of not whenever we were recording, they hadn't announced this yet. So this is why we didn't talk about it. But I'm talking about it now because they have mentioned their new date and location for Conquer Live 2025 is going to be in Table Rock Lake, Missouri, January 25th. No, 24th through the 26th. So the 25th is also in there. But January 24th through the 26th, Table Rock Lake, Missouri, Conquer Live. It is a great conference. I have not been personally yet. But we will see. And yeah, it is. I've heard so many great things. And if you like the energy that Heather and Jamie bring just to the podcast appearances, then you're going to love being with them for 3 days at a conference, learning from so many great educators. Anyway, I'll link that in the show notes as well, so you can go grab your ticket and go see Heather in person. Bring her some ice cream or something. But yeah, thanks again for listening. As always, you can check out us on Instagram. The show is at wit.pod, WITT.pod. TikTok is also a thing now for who knows how much longer, but we have our videos up on TikTok at WitPod. You can watch these all on YouTube. If you like to see our faces, watch me try and do some, what was I doing? Some, what is that called now? Two-stepping? That's not it. Line dancing. I was doing line dancing. You couldn't see my feet though, so spoiler alert. But yeah, check us out on YouTube. We've got like nearly 200 videos up there right now. And yes, that's it. Enough. This is good. Have a great day. I will see you next week. Next week, who do I have on the show? Oh, another returning guest. This is fun. Next week on the show, I have Tamara Darden. Where's her book? I have her book. Oh, no. I put her book somewhere else. Did I? Oh. Boom. The Photo CEO. That's Tamara right there. We're talking about her new book, The Photo CEO. Let me get this glare off of there. She is on the show next week. So very excited for that one. Great episode. Also follow us on Instagram because I'm going to be giving away a copy of The Photo CEO next week. Have a great week. I will see you then for my conversation with Tamara. Bye, y'all.